Coach, what would you say are the three things you're looking for in a player this week?
I think we always want, obviously, you're looking for skill sets within each position, but really tough players that are really smart and really love to compete. That's kind of like what we're looking for.
Matt, you've spent a lot of time evaluating and taking the guys you currently have. For the upcoming draft, what do you think would be a nice piece to add that you currently don't have?
Well, there's a lot of things I'd like to add, but I think that's every team. Certainly that's something that we're in the process of kind of going through and evaluating. Got a lot of trust in Gute and his staff to help us find players that fit what we want to do and what we want to be about.
In a couple of your spots, you've utilized committee running backs. How do you feel about what you've seen of Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams? Are those the guys you see that could work in a committee, or could one of them be a lead back for you possible?
Yeah, I think any time in today's NFL, you need multiple backs. Those guys, they take a lot of beating at times, and just going back for the last couple of years to Atlanta, and then in LA, and last year in Tennessee. If you have multiple backs that can get it done, I definitely think that's the way you want to go about your business, just to take kind of the load off those guys.
Is there anything that stood out to you about either of those guys, Aaron Jones or Jamal Williams?
Yeah, I think both those guys are versatile backs that can add that can really help us in the pass game as well.
What's it like getting on the same page as Brian about the type of players and the type of skill sets that you're seeing?
Yeah, that's kind of what we've been going through right now. The early part of this process was, just like you said, we spent a lot of time trying to evaluate and bring in the right coaches, and now it's just sitting down with Gute and going over exactly what we're looking for at each specific position group.
Talking about exactly what you're looking for, given your run scheme, and you've stated several times how important that's going to be to you, is there kind of a look for, when you're looking at the offensive line in particular, guys who can cut block, guys who've done the zone scheme stuff that you want to predicate your attack on? Yeah, certainly there's a movement skill that you're looking for from those guys up front to implement that outside zone scheme. I feel like we have some pieces already in place there in Green Bay right now, and we just want to keep adding to that.
Made over the course of the offseason about Sean McVay coaching tree and you maybe being a part of that, one of the branches. But what do you say that you took away from your time with coaching with Sean in Washington and in LA? Yeah, Sean is a tremendous leader. I think a lot gets made about his age and whatnot. I think he's wise beyond his years. I just learned so much from him in terms of how important that communication is, not only with your staff, but with your players, and developing relationships, and ultimately being true to yourself. He is, what you see is what you get from him, and he is a genuine guy. I think the guys, they love playing for him, and I think I can speak to being on the same staff as him. I loved coaching with him. He's just a genuine guy, and he's made of the right stuff.
Being from not only Sean, but maybe watching somebody like Matt Nagy and trying to see what you can do to have success in that first year.
Yeah, Matt Nagy's another guy I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for. Got to know him over the years, working the field drills with the quarterbacks, and again, just another genuine person. I think anytime you come into your first year, it really is about how cohesive you can get. Not only the coaching staff, but the players and everybody just moving in the same direction.
What are your impressions of the 2018 rookie receivers? Scantling, Jamal Moore, St. Brown. How do you see them fitting into your scheme?
Yeah, I'm really excited about those guys. I think all three of those guys, there's a reason they were drafted. They're big guys that can all run, and certainly that's something that we're looking for within our scheme, is guys that can stretch the field vertically, and just really excited about how those guys will be able to progress throughout their career.
Matt, to what extent and in what ways did your time at Saginaw Valley shape your desire to be a coach, and maybe kind of give you the foundation for where you are now?
Sure, I think it started well before that. My dad was a coach, My grandfather was a coach, and so I just kind of grew up around it. So I always knew this is something that I wanted to do. Certainly had some great times at Saginaw Valley, and met a lot of great people. But I knew from a young age that this is what I wanted to do. I don't feel like I'm working. I feel like I'm just living life and living the dream every day.
Coach, what's your biggest takeaway from your time in Tennessee, especially as a first-time play caller? What word of advice would you give to Arthur Smith?
Yeah, I learned a lot last year. Just being prepared for every situation in terms of, you look at what happened to us in week 1 and dealing with injuries and trying to, plug in people to be productive on offense and really thinking outside the box. And I got to give a lot of credit to Mike Vrabel with that too. He challenged us each and every day to really think outside the box. That's how we implemented some of the Wildcat stuff that we did. So certainly a lot of lessons that I learned last year, and I'm going to be better for those situations.
Do running backs need to be a big part of the pass catching game, or does it not really matter to who's catching the ball just as long as somebody is catching it?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the skill set of those backs. Because you look at going back to Atlanta, how we used Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman in the pass game was different than how we used Todd Gurley, where he was more of your check downs and screens. So it really speaks to the skill set of the backs. But certainly I think that if you got a guy that you can release out of the backfield, it just adds another layer to your offense and gives the defenses something more to think about.
Hey, what did you envision for your brother on the staff, and how did that conversation go with the 49ers when you asked?
Well, it obviously didn't go very well. No, it really wasn't something that I anticipated, leading up to the job interview, and because I didn't know how the Packers would take it. And the more I thought about it is, I've got a lot of respect for my brother, and I know he does a great job, and that's the reason they didn't want to let him out of San Francisco, because he does do a great job. And, I think in the end, it probably is going to work out for the best for both of us. But certainly, again, I just got a lot of respect for everything that he stands for as a person and as a football coach.
Bill, to the 49ers, that, come on, you can't keep two brothers apart. Did you ever try to go?
Kyle and I might have had a few conversations, but no, I've got a lot of respect for Kyle too. He's done a lot for both myself and my brother throughout our careers, and so certainly I know that kind of tugged on his heartstrings a little bit. Just he had that opportunity to coach with his father in Washington for those 4 years that we were together, and I know it wasn't easy on him. So it worked out the way it did, and I think we're focused on moving forward.
How different will this week be?
Yeah, again, I came into this league in 2008, and I looked at Kyle. He was the offensive coordinator for the Texans, and I was coming from a Division II school, Ashland University, and certainly I thought I knew a little bit more about football than I really did. But I didn't realize how much I had to learn until I was around Kyle. And, man, I've got just so much respect for him as a person and as a football coach. And, I feel like he totally shaped how I view the game. And both he and his dad just learned so much through my 4 years with Coach Shanahan in Washington, and just the focus and attention to detail on a daily basis that it takes to be great.
Coach, what differences might the fans expect to see out of the offense versus maybe what they've been accustomed to in Green Bay over the last several years? What are the hallmarks of maybe a Matt LaFleur offense?
Yeah, I think what we want to do is we really want to assemble our offense through the running game. I think it takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback, and if we can stay balanced on first and second down, I think that it's an advantage for the offense. So that's what we want to do. We want to have plays that start out looking the same that are different, and so that's what we'll try to accomplish there.
Matt, there's a couple of big-name free agents that are potentially being signed. Are you involved in any of those conversations with Gute about maybe bringing those guys back, or is that all good?
Yeah, that is ultimately Gute's decision. but certainly we talk all the time, and we're in constant communication. And I know the reason I felt so good about this job in particular is to work with a guy like him, because I know he wants to do right by us, and we're a team, and we're gonna work together.
Your age isn't talked about a lot, but how is that actually influenced as far as now we're talking about the relationship? How does that help you as a
You guys know I'm older than what I might look, right? I'm 7 years older than Sean, so no, I just think that we're going to bring a lot of energy. I think just, again, I think everything is about developing relationships within the staff and with our players. And so that's what we're going to try to do on a daily basis, just have that clear, open, and honest communication, and, try to get everybody working for the same common goal.
You talked about, going to the train station with Nathaniel and interviewing guys there. How is this process different for you this time around, being in the head coach's chair than?
Yeah, it's certainly a lot different. I'm used to being over in the train station grinding with everybody, but it's an exciting time. It's just a great opportunity for us as coaches to try to find out as much information about these players and see what these guys are all about.
Matt, just from the standpoint of you and Kyle and Sean were all on that staff in Washington, how cool is it now that the three of you are all head coaches?
Yeah, it's kind of surreal, and it's something that when not that we have a lot of time to sit back and reflect, but it is pretty cool to see some of your closest friends in life, and you're all kind of living your dream. And it's going to be even more fun when we can compete against each other on Sunday. But no, it's a really cool experience. And it also, to speak to that, it certainly is helpful for me to have guys like that have already gone through this process, because it's something that there's stuff that comes up that I've got to bounce off those guys. So it's a huge advantage for me having those two guys in place that have already gone through it.
What still has to be done with the staff before the players get here in early April?
Yeah, I think just all of us getting on the same page as far as our X's and O's. That's something that we're kind of working through right now. We're meeting as much as possible, and certainly, especially with me being in the position that I am in now, I tend to get pulled in different directions, and I just got to make sure, specifically to the offensive staff, that I'm in there making sure that we're doing things the way they need to be done.
Talk a lot about team chemistry amongst the players. How important is the chemistry amongst the coaching staff?
I think that's first. I think that's paramount. I think it's a trickle-down effect. It starts with us, and then that trickles down to the players.